Okay. Hello. I'm going to do a live video today. We're doing a question and answer about why skulls. I'm just going to wait to see who's here, and then I'll start talking in a minute. There's people coming and going from the store, and music playing in the background, which is probably distracting, but whatever. All right, so we'll give it a minute. Oh, there's a person. Okay. Oh, hi, Jamie Hall. All right, so so that when people replay this video, they don't have to sit here and listen to a lot of me waiting for people to come on. I'll just get to it. So why skulls? So the very first thing, so I have this sheet that I give to people. See this one here? And so what it says is, so my basic bare bones beginning for skulls is, at first everyone thinks it's about death. It's actually not about that. For me, the symbolism of skulls is as follows. Everything with a soul has a skull. So the skull is symbolic of the shell that you walk around in. It's to remind you that your soul is eternal. It has been here before and will be here again. The skull also houses your brain, the place symbolic to me of your ego. The ego is where you find out how everything is wrong. It is where you take things personally, and basically it is where all your misery comes from. To see the skull as a symbol of your immortal soul and a glimpse of your true power and potential is very profound. In my opinion, death is not the end. It is simply a change of venue. Crystal skulls are a wonderful tool to help connect with your higher self. So that's what I tell people when they come in and they're like, I have no idea what these are all about. Now, today is a Q&A, so if anybody has any questions, please ask, because otherwise I'm going to probably run out of words. So the other thing that I find that crystal skulls do for me, and since I've been working with them since about 2013, hi Dustin, I found that it is created, so if you go through your life and generally, so say you're like, so you're born, and then on the timeline, okay, something happened when you were a teenager, you learned stuff, you learned something, whoops, there's my finger, when you were in your 20s, and then maybe you learned something again in your 40s, you know, and then like, so they're pretty, you know, your life learning, your lessons and stuff is quite far apart. What my experience has been with them is that it's like this. So I have found that I go from one lesson to the next in a much faster rate than if I was just living a normal muggle life. So just one sec. Did you guys have any questions or anything?
No, I was just saying.
Oh.
Hot flash for my mom.
Oh yeah.
You could actually turn on the heat in the house.
Yeah, that would be handy. All right, sorry about that. So yeah. So one of the things that people find really weird is that you can talk to your skulls and they do talk to you. And so a recent learning I've had about that too is that the name that they give you is, they'll give different people different names. And that's because it's just a way of making a connection. So I have a skull that I met at the Toronto Psychic Fair in 2015, I think it was. Yeah. And when I met him, I'm like, ooh, I'm like, I'm here to make money, not spend money, buddy. So I didn't buy him, but then I was up north and I was going to head to the place where he was, the people that had him was. And when I went there, as I turned my car in that direction, they started telling me, I got the message from him. I could see his face and I'm like, oh crap. And I'm like, I guess I'm going to have to buy you if you're there, right? And I walked in and he was like sitting right at the front desk. And when I met him, it's like, my name is Eli. So different skulls will give you their name. Sometimes you can have a skull and work with it for months and months and months and it never gives you its name. And sometimes it's hard to pronounce the name. I recently have a really cool magnesite skull, so it's kind of, it looks like a head of cauliflower with a skull carved in the front. But when I first got the name from him, it was, or her, it was, it sounded like Tate, and then like, no, it's not Tate, and then it's like, is it Nate? No, it's not Nate. And then they're like, it's Egyptian. And so, and then finally I was sitting down with my goddess cards and I was going through them all, and that's Ma'at. So Ma'at is an Egyptian goddess, and that is the name of the skull. So sometimes I was in the shower and they wrote it like this, like I could see it in cursive writing for the name. But yeah, so the thing about the name is that it's just a way that they connect with us so that we were to start a conversation. It's not important, right? And whether or not it seems feminine or masculine is also not important because our souls are non-binary as well, right? So we're born in all different meat suits and it doesn't really matter. So, does anybody have any questions yet? Oh, thank you. Was that out there? It's okay. So, I can't take all this apparatus here upstairs and show you guys all the skulls, but what else can I tell you? Oh, what we have here is we have probably a couple 200 skulls at least, and we have them from like little tiny ones to like 50-pound ones, and stones, all different types of stones, and then we have carvers that we work with from around the world. So a lot of people really enjoy the Chinese carvings because they're very realistic looking and people really like that. A lot of people think Brazilian ones are the be all to end all, which I don't agree. I don't want to offend anyone, but I have a skull that was by a master carver. That's a big deal. And I found that it's really, I don't know, I didn't really connect with it. Now, the skulls that I get from the Himalayan mountains, from the Meena family, that are carved in India, now those things are sparky. Like I find, I meditate with one of those every week and I really enjoy them. So I guess it depends on the person and what you connect with. Like we do have a lot of skulls from Peru as well. And a lot of people really connect with the energies of the Peruvian skulls, more so than my Brazilian or Mexican ones. So, but they can be carved anywhere in the world. Oh, there's the second. Does the size of the skull make any difference? No, actually, because a very small skull can be very powerful. The only reason why you would have a really big skull is because in his book, Jap Van Etten described it. They did energetic testing. So they were able to test how much of a space so a skull kind of puts out energy in a space. So a small skull may only have like a small space, but it can still be a very high energy entity that's coming through it. But if you have like a 50-pound skull like I do, that just makes it a bigger space. So it takes up a bigger landscape of space, more so than if it's how evolved or how helpful it is. So it's more about an actual amount of space as opposed to how powerful it is as a entity.
Sorry, gotta squeeze on by.
You gotta squeeze. Oh, wait, no.
Which way you want me to go?
That way.
What's your count?
I don't know. There's 8.
That's good.
Yeah. So, any other questions about the skulls today?
Don't worry, people like stuff like this because they like to feel like a fly on the wall, you know?
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like we should do a live from craft time.
Oh, we should do a live from craft time.
Because it's late enough that we'll get more viewers too.
Yes,
and then
we
we
should.
can be more fun because we're not in the shop.
Yes. So keep an eye out. We're going to do lives on craft time. So Dustin and I like to go out to my shop at my house at night. And currently we're working on masks. I don't have one here, but we're working on masks where you use masking tape and tissue paper. And yeah, mine's a wolf. And no, mine's a fox. And yours
a fox,
is...
mine's a bunny.
You're the bunny.
A little bunny.
Little bunny. All right. So anyway, that's something that'll be coming up on lives, is my disgustingly messy workshop with people getting to see in it. So that'll be fun. If anybody else have any more questions about the skulls today? Oh, I did have a question from someone from text message, and they were asking me, what is a good stone for passion and friendship? And so what I looked it up, and they say for passion and friendship, I got malachite, which is interesting because that's a heart healer, but that's also a very expensive one. Mm-hmm. And then aventurine, and they say quartz. Ruby. Ruby is awesome. I have a little ruby. It's very awesome. Oh, hang on here. I have another question. So does it work better as a skull or a raw form? Oh no. So what a crystal does is what a crystal does, and what a crystal skull does is different. So with the crystal skull, you get the crystal energy, but then you also get the skull. So with the skull, the shape of the skull holds an entity, and therefore it can help you connect with your higher self, more so than just the rock itself. So hopefully that's a good answer for you, Kim. I can answer more if you want to elaborate more. on that question. But yeah, definitely there's a lot more to it being a crystal skull than being, just the crystal itself. So, and it's not the same, like, well, where it does not interact, what am I trying to say? So there's star being skulls, which prefer not to be called aliens. There's dragon skulls, and then there's like the humanoid skulls. There's also raven skulls and owl skulls, which I don't have any of those right now. But but the skull itself it's symbolic of our shell and our ego, and so it's one of the we use it to connect with our inner selves. So.
When did you first discover skulls?
Oh my goodness. I don't even remember exactly what it was that brought skulls into my life, but I know that when I did, I had a job and I had a good job. And so I bought 5-inch skulls, and I bought amethyst for my crown, sodalite for my third eye, amazonite for my throat, dragon's blood jasper for my heart, orange calcite for my sacral. No, sorry, I skipped. So I had tiger's eye for my solar plexus, orange calcite for my sacral, red jasper for my root, and then I had an obsidian to ground it all down. And then I did have, oh, this is a good point too, as I got a lemon size, they call it, crystal skull that was charged by an ancient skull that was called Sharana. And that one, yeah. So what happened is the skulls communicate with each other, right? So when one is around an old one or one that has gathered a lot of energy, they share it, right? So when I went to bed that night, it was like, whoa, and I was like, no. It was awesome. I really liked it. But that's when things started going like this. So in my life, I had, I had been married and I'd been divorced, and I'd been married and I'd been divorced, and then, meh, right? So I'd just still be kind of floating along, but the skulls kind of create.
It kicked everything into overdrive.
Yeah, it kicks things into overdrive, which sounds scary, but it's actually really awesome.
No, because it kicks like your life purpose into overdrive.
Well, yeah, my life's purpose is like right here.
Yeah.
So it's like if I try to do anything different. Oh yeah, Garmin and Teddy, your mini skulls, they were so cute. I still have a couple of their brothers left here, if you can believe it. I have a lot of inventory.
A lot.
Yeah, a lot. But yeah, there's still a couple of those guys.
New
left.
website coming soon though, so you can shop all our inventory.
Yes, we are working on our new website. It's challenging, and we have barcodes on things now, and so we've been working away at making it better and better in here. And what's this? Oh, and tonight, if anybody is around, tonight we have our Sacred Sound Journey with William Pasher. So he's coming in and doing his thing when he does drumming and singing and crystal bowls, and he has whistles that sound like birds and all sorts of stuff. It's really super fun.
Oh, and it feels amazing.
And it feels amazing.
Like it really is a journey.
It is a journey. Well, it was funny because last time we didn't have very many people because I didn't promote it very well, I guess. And so I ended up shutting down the store, and Dustin and my partner Joe did it with us, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
I agree, Catherine. You do need to come soon. I haven't seen you since, I think, 2016 in here, so that'd be fun. If you ever want to do another chakra painting, I love doing those. I've got it to the point now where there's no stripes at all. I'm like down with the stripes. But yeah, so thanks for commenting. Any other questions you could think of while I'm waiting for questions?
Do you have a favorite type of skull?
Well, I don't want to make anybody feel left out.
That's true.
Yeah. But I do really, really enjoy working with the Himalayan quartz.
Yeah.
The Himalayan quartz.
They're powerful.
And the thing is because we run free meditations here every Sunday night at 7 o'clock, you can come in and connect with any of the skulls in this building, which is a lot. I have Shungite skulls. I have Himalayan skulls. I have the Peruvian ones. We have malachite. I try to have lots of different stones and lots of different carvers so that there's always something you can connect with. The first time I went to a skull meditation, I was in Sedona at Jap Van Etten's, and I grabbed a freaking Priscilli bluestone this big and it was amazing. So we have Priscilli bluestones, so if people come and they find that I don't know, if somebody really wants a really intense experience, then I would highly recommend a Priscilli bluestone. But I don't know if everybody responds to Priscilli bluestone like I do, but I find that I respond to it quite. It's like,
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm that way with rose quartz. It's something about it just like really makes me vibrate.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, it's the self-love
Yeah.
stone, right? So
Yeah.
it's like Ah.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite son? That's awesome. I have two favorite sons, but thank you for asking.
Who was that?
That's one of Randy's friends,
Of course.
or Randy's on Ben's phone. I don't know, but both my sons are amazing. Thank you for asking. This is a really good question. Do you ever get bad things from skulls? No. Skulls only will house an entity of light.
Okay, this is good to talk about because
Yeah.
there have been some people talking amongst the Crystal Skull community lately, and they've been kind of trying to spread some distrust.
Okay, so this is... I have to be very mindful because I don't want to piss off very fancy people, but
this is what live is
but
for.
but it's really important to understand that they only house an entity of light. Period. Now, if people are trying to tell you that they're bad, it's because they think theirs are better, and then if you buy theirs, and then they make them more expensive because they're better, and that's not fair. That's
this is
not
just not
fair.
true. It's simply
Well, it's
not
not
true.
true, but it's also not fair.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like you can't make people think that things are shitty and bad when they're not, because that's not ethical. And ethics is like kind of really important to me.
Yeah.
So, when you're using a skull, you're only connecting to your higher self, right? So, and it's all through love and light, period.
And like the shape of the skull vibrates on that very like the humanity level. That's what it gets from being the shape of a human skull. Is
Yeah.
It gets like a human energy, and humanity at its basis is like doesn't have any evil in it. It's only when other things get interjected into like the concept of humanity that evil becomes a thing. So when you have these things that are just pure energy, they're not. It's not.
Well, it's
nothing else is
pure
gonna
energy,
pure
right? And I don't give any power to that kind of thing anyway,
Yeah.
right? Because what you believe, you give power to, right? So, what else we have on here? Oh, okay. Thanks, Catherine. It was nice seeing you. Thanks for popping in on our live because it's new and weird for me. But
You're doing good though.
am I?
Yeah, you are.
Okay. More questions would be cool. Yeah, I'm very mindful of people who say anything about things being bad or dark or whatever, and putting judgment, and they're putting Christian values onto things that are of a
Much
higher.
older than that.
They're much older than that, right? Everything is not black or white. Everything is just different shades of gray. And so it's just a matter of having a different understanding, and it's the personalization and taking things personally is usually what makes things feel bad, right? It's not what happened to you, it's your opinion of what's happened to you that makes you feel bad, right?
Yeah.
And opinions can be changed, right? All right, anybody else got anything to say? We're down to 7 again, but that's cool. I don't care.
Well, we can wrap it up whenever you want to, if you want to.
Okay. Does anybody else have any other questions? I want to reiterate the whole thing about people saying that things are negative. It is really important to understand that when people tell you bad things, they're doing it because they're trying to take away your power. Okay? So if someone's taking your power, they're trying to use it to their advantage. And that is not okay. And that is something that we don't do here. We won't ever do here. And, you know, if anybody's ever spoke to you in that tone here, I'm pretty sure they're not here anymore. So that's fine. It will never happen again. And if you ever feel like you needed to have an open discussion about such a thing, my inbox is always open. All
That's a
right.
good way to
Oh,
end
what
it.
helps with anxiety? Oh, good
Oh.
question. My favorite. So, Tiger Iron is my personal favorite for that because Tiger Eye is like awesome, and I'm wearing Tiger Eye. So you got Tiger Eye on. Tiger Iron is like Tiger Eye, but it's only found in Australia, and it has hematite and red jasper in it as
Hawk's eye,
well.
too.
And which?
Hawk's eye.
And Hawk's Eye in it as well.
Yeah.
But the reason why I mentioned the hematite and the red jasper in it more so is just because, so the tiger's eye balances everything out, but then you have the powerful grounding on top of it of the hematite with the stimulating of the red jasper. So it just takes what it already does and just amps it up a little bit. I really love it in a skull as well. We have like a great big one that sits at the front, and then we have lots of little ones. I find that they're very, very helpful for that type of thing. So yes, we have discussed that, haven't we, Sherry? So there's necklaces. I know I wanted to make some people some tiger iron underpants, but yeah, it'd be a little bit heavy.
That's another idea. You could do live while you're doing jewelry making, because people would like to
Watching
see
me
that.
try to put things. I have my
Yeah.
glasses on, man. But alrighty. So if anybody else have any other questions, because if you have any more questions, that'd be cool. And if not, I'm gonna wrap this up, and I'm gonna try to do this fairly regularly and come up with some other things to talk about. I do want to do the lay of the land speech, which I is the beginning of almost every reading that I do, and it is really important. So by next week, I would look forward to the lay of the land speech video for sure. That'll bring some really interesting discussions up for sure, because hi Kristen. The lay of the land speech is the way that Spirit has shown me directly through the work that I've been doing for the last several years, how the universe is set up. And I don't find anybody has exactly the same opinion, but it's something that's what I've learned. And when I read, it's the context of the readings, right? So it's really important to understand this. I have to say it for people when I do the readings, and because I channel, it's always super fun because it kind of comes in through the crown of my head and falls out my mouth. So every time I do the lay of the land for somebody specifically, it's a certain way. So it'll be interesting to see for me what it'll be like when I just do it for one person, or for everybody, sorry. I also can do pull a card. Actually, why don't we pull a card today? Why don't you grab those?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna pull a card for you, and then I'm gonna log off. Hi. Is it Muhammad?
Thank you.
I can't pronounce the rest of your name, but hello. Okay, so the deck that we work with here, and one of my primary decks that I work with at the shop is Mystic Art Medicine. Mystic Art Medicine by Charlene. And Charlene is like the most awesome person. She is an artist and healer. Well, I guess she's more of an artist, and she wrote all the information for her cards as well, and she painted them. So like, she's freaking amazing.
She's almost like a what's the word? Like a spiritualist, like an
She's like a
expert.
spirit. Yeah, she's super fun and cool and a really beautiful soul.
She was part of a
And
church
she's
that
making
I
another
heard
deck.
this.
Yes, she was part of that. She also has a second deck coming, but we're gonna pull a deck for a card for everybody today. So I'm gonna focus my attention on some guidance for everyone. So it might seem like that's a little hard, but trust me, it works. So
We're in
just
some
hang on.
dark times right now. We could all use a little guidance.
I'm feeling pretty good, but whatever.
Yeah, well,
But
you made it through the rain.
I know. Sometimes you have to prepare to give up everything to get everything.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. Okay, so we are going to pull our card for everyone today. Ooh, and it's so funny. What did he just say? It's a dark times. Oh, well, here's our card. Can you see that? It's the shadow card. Now I'm going to read you the whole thing because it's pretty elaborate, but it's a really good thing. And when you listen to this and then put it in the context of your life, and it's going to make a lot of sense. So, I need glasses. There we go. Got my rainbow glasses. Thank you. So, I'm going to read you about the painting first, too. So, in the cropped image from Creation's Child, you see a shadowy figure coming down a dark starway inflamed with red-hot fire. Dark energy is entering from the top of his head, symptomatic of negative thoughts. Old rickety stairs with overgrown roots lead to the shadowy figure. There is no getting over. The only way is through. Yet, healing waters in blue spread over the roots and down the stairs. One flower of hope lingers to bring transformation and light to the shadow. Many people following a spiritual path do their darndest to stay away from what we call the shadow, until one learns that both sides, light and dark, equivalently factor into the whole. All is lost in the search for truth. The Buddha speaks of the necessity of knowing the dark before one can become enlightened. Your journey here on earth is perhaps to experience everything, and that means your shadow too. When you experience a shadow aspect, resist not. Bring awareness into it and transform it. This is a true and priceless gift. In many ancient cultures, unless the healer has experienced the illness himself, he was not considered capable to heal the condition. If tribal children were traumatized, they were put through some serious training to learn to face and transform the shadow. Usually, they would go on to become a gifted medicine person who helped others to do the same. If it is possible to transform your shadow, but first you need to understand what it is. The shadow side of self, which hinders growth, is constantly inviting you to transform it on a daily basis. Be they fears, negative thoughts, projections, harmful habits, or feelings of self-importance. Resisting your shadow prolongs suffering. Know in every shadow death, there is a beauty unfolding, the birth of a new gift or talent. The shadow medicine card brings great possibilities of transformation, forgiveness, wisdom, and understanding. Discovering your shadow can show you much about who you are not. The shadow also shows you your light. So for some reason, that's making me a little bit emotional today. So it could be just because I'm reading it to God knows how many people. Who knows? Anyway, so your shadow aspect, if anybody has any questions, this is when you can ask them. For me, one of the biggest things I've had with my shadow aspect is, well, let me see, there's a few different things. So it can be quite complicated because we are diamonds, right? We are multifaceted beings. So you don't have one thing that you do that's a thing. We have lots of things that we do that are things. And that's part of our journey here, is to look at our shit and manage through it. I think, trying to think. So one of my shadow aspects, I guess, that I can share, some of it's kind of personal. Family. Okay, so I have places in myself where I've had experiences in the past with my family where it has not gone well, where it has felt really bad, and it has felt, yeah, I have just felt that I was at a disadvantage, and that, I don't know, I would put strings on shit that didn't need strings. And so this year I have learned that, you know, it doesn't really matter what anybody does. And, of course it does. So, you know, so learning to look at it in a different way. So your shadow is about your opinion of what's happened to you, not necessarily what's happened to you, right? And so if you can work on your opinion of what's happened, or shift how you look at what's happened, then you can be, that's one of the ways that you can work through your shadow. Yeah. Instead of me trying to figure out a way to articulate it without like telling you my entire freaking life story. Yeah. So what do we got on here? So Sandy, yes, very fitting. And then it has, yeah, see, because it's for everybody right now. So at this time of year, I always find that late September, early October makes me feel crazy. And but it's the thinning of the veil, and there's a lot of different things going on. And then as it gets closer to San Juan, then I start feeling happy and it starts being fun. So if anybody has any questions, I can answer them now, and if not, I'm gonna sign off momentarily.
I second.
All right. Well, I think I'm going to finish off, guys, and thank you guys so much for popping in. And you can put questions on the feed for this, and I'll answer it as I see them. So have a lovely day.